Greetings, this is Charles McCall, Mentoring Growing Leaders, Leadership 101, lesson number 9. Lesson number 9, we're going to talk about developing skills with people. You know, I don't know if you get it or not, every lesson that we've been doing is just foundational to successful leadership, successful long-term leadership. I would really urge you, what I tell my students here in Cambodia and around the world, is a good student doesn't just read the lesson, listen to the lesson, or view the lesson one time. But a good student listens, reads, and views again and again. You know, I showed you in the previous lesson a photograph of my little work area in my house. And off to the right, I have a small bookcase, and I have books that I refer to again and again and again. And these are books that have changed my life. These are books that have helped establish a strong foundation as a Christian, as a leader, and as a pastor, and all that. And I refer to them again and again. They're there because I keep pulling them out. And so I really recommend to you that you watch these again. You can download them onto your phone, easy to watch. They're not too long. But I really encourage you, allow the teaching that we've gone through in all of these lessons to make a shift in your thinking and create new ways of thinking and create new habits, which will create a new lifestyle for you. And so in our work as a leader, we relate to people. We have to relate to people. And at all levels of the 5 levels of leadership, which we're going to be talking about, we have to relate to people. If we're a team member, or if we're a team leader, or if we're a middle level manager, or a senior leader, or a high level leader, whatever level of leadership we're functioning at, we have to relate to people. And many of the problems that happen in our life, work, and ministry as a leader, if you're a teacher, if you're in a school, an organization, or a business, or a church, many of the problems that we encounter are associated with a lack of people skills. It has to do with relationships. And so it's really important that we develop our relationships skills with people. And this is a lifelong process. It doesn't happen in a day. It's certainly not going to happen in the few weeks that you're studying with me, but we can start to make shifts, and we can consider and practice and commit to a long-term change in developing skills with people. In John chapter 13, verse 16, Jesus said, "For I gave you an example that you should do as I did." And so I think that we can say that Jesus Christ is one of the best leaders that ever lived on this earth. And he gives us an example of how to relate to people. So as we look through the Gospels, we can look at not just the actions of Jesus toward people, but how he thought about people. And that's really, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 different ways of thinking, 10 foundational, critical ways of thinking about people that end up affecting how we relate to people and how we lead people. John Maxwell said it right. He who thinks he leads but no one follows is only taking a walk. And you know, I don't care what kind of high-level management, organizational planning skills that you have, if you don't have people following you, it's going to do you good maybe, but it's not going to do the world good. And so we want to have followers, and people will follow us because of our relationship skills. And if you can't relate to people, they're not going to follow you. Relationships will make or break it with the leader over time. Again, you're going to see another lesson on 5 different reasons why people follow you. And eventually, if you don't have good relationship skills with them, they will stop following. If you don't have good people skills, they will stop following you. So effective leaders don't focus on themselves. Think about this. I may have you repeat this. Effective leaders don't focus on themselves and their own success. They are others-minded. To them, success means developing people. I want you to stop and think about that. I'm going to read it again. Effective leaders don't focus on themselves. Don't focus on what they can get out of it, their personal benefit, where they're going to go. I don't even like the term when we use it, come follow me, you know, my people. I'm going to talk to you about my people. I don't like that term at all. It makes us feel like that I'm here and they're down there, my people. I want you to meet my people. These are my people that are following me. Relationships will either make or break a leader. Effective leaders don't focus on themselves and their own success, their own great stardom. Your vision is important, but again, remember what I said, that our vision must be the same as God's vision. It must be within the sphere of God's vision. God's vision is about people, projects, things, moving forward, influencing the world, turning the world upside down. That's all part of God's vision. That's all part of our vision. But it relates to people. And so effective leaders are others-minded. To them, success means developing people. Success is developing people. And I've got a course on becoming a disciple-making leader. That was Jesus' focus. You know, Jesus came to die on the cross. Jesus came to make a way for the Holy Spirit to come and empower us to live the life that he wants us to live. Jesus came to break the bondage and the stronghold of the devil and to give abundant life. Jesus came to do all of that. But during the 3.5 years that Jesus was involved in active ministry, he focused on people and he related to people. Effective leaders don't only focus on themselves and their success, but they focus on developing others. There's 3 truths about people that we need to understand. Number 1, people are an organization's most valuable resource. If you're an organization, then your staff and your customers are your most valuable resource. If you're a business, your staff and your customers are your most valuable resource. If you're a school, then your teachers and your students and the parents, they are your most valuable resource. And if you're a church, your staff and your volunteers and your congregation are your most valuable resource. And so people are our most valuable resource. And so it behooves us to develop specific skills that will help us to be successful in our relationship with people. A leader's most important asset is people skills. If people are the organization's most valuable resource, then our most important asset is to develop skills with people. And we're interested in people, not just in projects. I'm a project person. I'm a do person. I'm a work person. I want to see things get done. I want to see all these activities and all that. But people are the priority. We put people as a priority over our projects. That's our office staff, our financial staff, staff that work outside the office, our volunteers, our sales and marketing staff, the ones who serve tables, our teachers, the cleaners. These are all the people that we relate to in our world. So I'm going to be sharing with you 10 keys. It's really 10 ways of thinking that translate into actions of what every leader needs to know about people. 10 ways of thinking that translate into action, what every leader needs to know about people. Number 1, people are insecure, and we must give them confidence. I'm just telling you, I've been around the world, and I've been around in life for a few years, a lot of different roles, worked with all different kinds of people. People are insecure. Some of the most apparent confident people are insecure. Some of the most apparent successful people are insecure. And so just been my experience working with every kind of person that when it comes to your spouse, when it comes to your assistant leaders, your directors, your helpers, your high-level producers, people are insecure. On the inside, people are insecure. You and I, as their leader, we provide security for them. And we provide a secure atmosphere for them to work in. Someone said that hurting people hurt people. And secure people offer security to others. And so a big issue for you and I as leaders is to deal with our own insecurity so that we can provide security to our family, provide security to those that work and volunteer in our organization. Most people are insecure in some area of their life. Most people are looking for affirmation. Make a note on that, write it down. Most people are looking for affirmation, and a secure environment is provided by secure and confident people. I really admire my son, who is now the director over all the things that is being done here in Cambodia. And my son has really created a secure environment for his staff, very positive environment, secure environment for his staff, where regarding relationships and blaming and failure, he's done a very good job, and he's worked at it. He's intentionally tried to create this kind of a secure environment for his staff. And so how do you create a secure environment in your church, amongst your staff, and amongst other leaders and helpers that you relate to? First, I would recommend creating a positive environment. I remember a long time ago, and I'll be honest with you, we're going to talk about personality. My personality is more of a melancholy personality, which tends to lean toward negativism, criticism, easily discouraged, hopeless. It's got a lot of positive qualities, but these are the negative qualities that can drag me down if I'm not careful about it. But I remember a long time ago, I made a decision. I will be a positive person. I am going to be a person that imparts life and hope to other people. And I remember I used to drive from my house to our office when I lived in the United States. And as I pulled into the driveway at the office and I got out of my car, I made a conscious decision. I'm going to put a smile on my face. I'm going to walk through that door, and I'm going to greet the receptionist, and I am going to be life to her. I am going to let something exude out of me that will bring life and hope and be a bright spot in her day. And I'm going to do my best to everybody that I encounter in this office and throughout my day. And so you can create a secure environment by creating a positive environment, by being a positive person that brings life and not death to people, to brings hope and not hopelessness to people, that lifts people up rather than brings them down. So for right now, you may have to think about that. What kind of a person are you? Ask those around you. You might not want to. What kind of a person am I? Am I a positive person? Am I a critical person? Am I a person that is encouraging and brings hope and life to other people? Jesus was, wasn't he? I mean, Jesus rebuked some Pharisees, but generally, Jesus was a person who brought life and hope to people. He was positive. Praise others. I've made it a point to use my words to praise others, to find things, something positive that they've done, something successful, and to affirm them in that. And so that was his decision. My natural tendency, my personality is not to do that. But I made a decision, I will be this kind of a person. And especially as a leader, we must be that kind of a person that will praise others. And if we have to correct them in private. Take them aside and correct them in private. Show concern for them personally. When they're sick, when they're frustrated. You know what? Just had lunch with what I consider a high-level leader that I respect yesterday, another American missionary here. And he was telling me about, I remember I was having a bad day, not too long ago, and I went up to this theater on the third floor of this mall, and I just sat in the theater and watched a movie. I said, really, what's a bad day for you? I thought I was the only one that had bad days. And so he began to share, and it was encouraging to me. And so people have bad days. When they're having bad days, when they're frustrated, when their project is not getting completed, they meet with obstacles. Show concern for them. You don't have to solve their problems all the time. You can't solve some of their problems, but show concern to them. If you have to dismiss people from their job, dismiss them gently and with respect. Evaluate them and provide resources for them to succeed. This is really, as far as I'm concerned, this is the primary role of a leader. We show the way, and then we provide resources so that those that are with us can succeed. We provide the financial resources, the human resources, the material resources for those that are with us to succeed. The second point is people like to feel special, and so honor them. Everybody likes to feel special. And so speak to their heart and not just to their head. Speak to their heart and let an emotion exude from you that creates an emotion and a connection in them where they feel like that, you know what? my boss recognizes. He knows that I'm alive. And there was one guy I worked with one time, and I felt like, you know what? If I was in the hospital, I don't know if he'd even come and visit me. I don't know if he really cares about me as a person. He cares about me as a worker, but really as a person. And so people like to feel special, so honor them. Connect to them emotionally. Make your words sincere. Make your words specific. Don't just say, hey, you're doing a good job, Joe. But tell them specifically, you know what, I really appreciated that you came on time and you prepared that document ahead of time and got it to me in plenty of time so I could prepare for my meeting. Be specific about your praise. Make your words public. Make your words sincere. Make your words specific, and make your words public. You know what, I consciously honor people in front of other people. And if you're a Facebook fan, like them. Like them. You know, sometimes I just scroll through and I don't peruse, I don't give serious thought to a lot of the Facebook posts, but you know what? I like a lot of them. Click, 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 like. I want them to feel that I am thinking about them and that they are important to me. If I'm not making a comment, at least I'm liking it. You want them to feel special. Number 3, people are looking for a better tomorrow. So give them a hope. Everybody wants a better tomorrow. Give them hope. The key to today is a belief in tomorrow. We can make it through today if we think that there's going to be hope tomorrow. Be a person that gives them a bright future, that gives them a hope for tomorrow. God is able. Nothing is too difficult for him. There is a way. You know, just talking to someone recently that had a really difficult situation, I just had to keep convincing them there is a way. God will make a way. I don't know what that way is right now. You don't know what that way is, but there is a way because God has determined success. Jeremiah 29:11, that he has determined success and good future and success for you in the future. And so be a person that brings hope, eternal hope to them, hope in this natural life. The Word of God is the answer, and develop their potential. They need someone who can see something in them that they can't see themselves. Develop their potential. Number 4, people need to be understood, so listen to them. You know, this is huge. Listen to them. There are some people who listen to what is being said only to give an answer. They're not listening to try to understand. Listen to understand. Don't listen to try to solve problems. You know what? I've been a pastor and a counselor for many years. And you know what I've discovered? Most people who come to me over the years with problems, they're not asking me to solve their problems. They just want somebody to listen to them, somebody who can encourage them, somebody who can show concern for them. And sometimes we're able to resolve the problems. Sometimes it resolves itself, but they're looking for someone who will listen to them. And so try to understand the heart, not just the words. Sometimes even the angry people who come, look beyond their angry words and look to their heart. Why are they angry? They're usually angry because they've been hurt. They've been hurt, disappointed by something didn't work out the way they wanted it to work out, or somebody did something that frustrated them. Look to the heart. People need to be understood, so listen to them. Listen and try to understand their heart. John Maxwell asked the question, what do they talk about? You want to understand their heart? Listen to what they talk about. You'll find out what's in it. What do they cry about? What touches them? What disappoints them? What do they dream about? What do they look for in the future? Listen, all you have to do is pay attention. What do they laugh about? And what do they plan about? That's how you can learn somebody's heart. Number 5, people lack direction. And so we must guide them. That's our role. God has designed that there are leaders, that there is a hierarchy, that there is a structure in the universe and in the world, in heaven and on earth. And so leaders are part of that. And so people lack direction. There are so many people, they want to go someplace, but there's nobody. I just met with some pastors in another province here, and I asked them, you know, what are some of their biggest issues? And they said, we don't have anybody to guide us. We don't have a mentor. We said we have nobody to talk to. I said we talk to God. We know we can talk to God, but we want somebody with flesh on it. We want somebody who has experience, who's gone the way ahead of us, so that we can sit down and talk with them and bounce off ideas from them and learn from their experience. People need direction, and people lack direction, so we need to guide them. And so there's 6 different one of our lessons is 6 different leadership styles. We talk about guiding people. So you have to adjust how you guide people based upon what their need and what they can receive. And so there's 6 different leadership styles that we're going to study later on. So a leader knows the way. A leader knows the way. I know the way. There's certain things in life, certain issues in life, I know the way. I know where to go. I know how to solve it. Some of that in me comes by intuition, honestly. It just must come from God. Some of it comes from learning, from reading, from asking other people and trying to observe how they've succeeded or how they've failed. Pay attention to other leaders. And so we share our experiences with them without judging. Guide them without judging them. Share opportunities with them. They need guidance. When I find that somebody desires to move into a certain area, I just start thinking, is there anybody I know that might be able to help this person? And I become a connector. I'm known as the connector here, is that I help connect people with resources, with opportunities that might lead them to the next step in their journey. Be a connector who can connect them with others so they can work together with them and they can all move together to the next step of their journey. People have needs. And so speak to their needs first before you speak to their heads. We're going to be looking at Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs on the next slide in a moment. But this is huge, is that people have needs. And honestly, if they're hungry and they're thinking about where their next meal is going to come from, or if they're sick, or if their children are sick, I'll tell you what, it's going to be really hard to persuade them to come to church. If they're thinking about their issues, address their issues. That's why here in Cambodia, we have a church, but we do humanitarian work hand in hand, is that we do holistic ministry. We address the spiritual needs, the soulish, emotional needs, and the physical needs of people, because we believe that people have needs. And so to address their needs, speak to their needs, their need of security or their need of hope. Some of them, they might need some physical resources. Try to speak to those needs before we ask for their heart. Speak to their needs first before you speak to their head. Speak to their heart. I had one counselor tell me one time, he said, emotion always wins over reason. Emotion always wins over reason. And so somebody is talking to you and they're emotionally bound up. Don't try to reason with them at that moment. Connect with their heart. And then once you connect with their heart, you can reason with them, maybe. I wrote down, emotions always win over the heart until a person knows the biblical principles. Look at the chart next. We're going to, number 7, people get discouraged, so encourage them. Seek to understand the situation. Don't judge. Show compassion. But look at the chart in your slides. And this is Abraham Maslow's Hierarchy of Human Needs. And Abraham Maslow, I don't think he was a Christian. I studied him when I studied psychology in college. But I really think that these are on. Is that there are physical needs, safety needs, love and belonging needs, esteem needs, and then what he calls self-actualization. Self-actualization is what we call being everything that God has wanted you to be, becoming all that God has created you to be. That's where our goal is. That's what my heart is. That's what my passion has been for all these years. I believe it's yours also, to help people rise up and to become everything that God has created them to become and do everything that God has created them to do. But you know what? If they have physical needs, it's going to be hard for them to even think about it. It's going to be hard for them to receive your sermon, to receive your teaching. If they have safety needs, security needs, emotional security needs, or physical safety needs, if they have love and belonging needs, or if they have self-esteem needs, it's going to be hard for them to receive all that we have for them, all that God has for them when we're talking about a destiny. Maybe that's why Jesus went around casting out demons and healing the sick and doing miracles. He addressed all these needs so that he could take care of those and then move them into the eternal destiny, the purpose that God has for them on this life, in this world. Let's move to the next slide, number 8. What every leader must know. People want to succeed. Nobody wants to fail. Everybody wants to succeed as a parent, as a family, wants to succeed in their business. People want to succeed, and so we must help them win. Help them to discover their strengths and weaknesses. This is a key for me, is I want people to see what is in them, to see what God has put in them. We call this a spiritual shape, and that's a whole other course that we will get to. Discovering your spiritual shape, your spiritual gifts, heart motivation, abilities, personality, and experiences in life. That's huge. And so we want to help people to discover their strengths and their weaknesses, and want them to understand and see their spiritual gifts, their heart motivation, the strengths and weaknesses of their personality. Why? Because these are stepping stones that will help them move into what God has for them. And that's our role as a leader, to lead them, not just lead so that we have a great, successful organization and we're all over the news media, everybody knows about us, but the purpose of our organization, the purpose of our business, the purpose of everything we do in the church is to serve people, to bring the kingdom of God into people's lives. And so help them to discover their strengths, help them to discover their heart, help them to experience some small victories. Sometimes people just need to experience small victories, and that will encourage them to continue on. Number 9, people desire relationships. And so we must provide a family. This is a key for us. If we're a business, if we're a school, if we're an organization or church, I would really encourage you to create a family atmosphere so that there's a sense that we are friends, we are family, we're for each other, we help each other. And you can do that by creating times of fellowship, by creating times of togetherness, by creating times of interaction. Look for the loner in your organization. It may be a staff, it may be a volunteer, it may be a customer, it may be a member of your church. Look for the loner. You know, tomorrow there's a big event here in Cambodia, and I'm going to be joining that. And I specifically sent a text message to a young man who studies with me, and I know he wants to get together with me. And I've said, are you going to go to this event? He said, yes. I said, let's have lunch together. There's another one in a few minutes. I'm going to meet somebody else for lunch. It's the same way. Kind of a loner, looking out for somebody. You know, it's worth it to me. His life is worth it to me because I see potential in both of these young men. And I want to fan the flames of that potential. Create, people desire relationships. We must provide a family. Look for the loner, pay attention to need, and understand the 4 levels of relationships. There are 4 levels of relationships. I learned many, many years ago as a new Christian, a particular seminar that I went to. It's beneficial to me. It's helped me to be able to relate to people. 4 levels of relationship. And again, these are in the teacher's notes. Acquaintance is the lowest level. And so you're at the acquaintance level, don't know each other really well, just ask general questions. Ask the Ford questions, F-O-R-D. Ford, ask about their family. Ask about their occupation. Ask about recreation, and then ask about dreams. And so you're at the lowest level, the acquaintance level. You can this general conversation and ask this guy that I'm going to meet with in a few minutes. This is what I'm going to do with him. It's kind of acquaintance level. I don't know him real well yet. I'm going to ask, tell me about your family. Tell me about the work that you've had and the work that you're doing now. And what do you like to do for fun? What are your dreams? That's exactly the process I'm going to take with him in about 30 minutes when I meet with him. The next level is casual friend. The casual friend, you can ask deeper questions. You can give them hope. You have a relationship there with them. You're kind of a casual friend, and you can give them hope. The third level is a close friend. And a close friend, you can talk about goals. There's other guys that I meet with. They're leaders at a certain level. I meet with them and I talk with them about their goals. I talk with them about their future. I just met with one and his wife this last week. I'm providing resources for him, not financial resources necessarily, but literature and resources for him to move to the next level and to move into what he wants to move into. The 4th level is intimate friend. So acquaintance, casual friend, close friend, and an intimate friend. You can open your heart. We don't have too many intimate friends, but there's a few men in this world I feel 100% confident I can open my heart. I can tell them just about everything in my heart because I trust them and I know that they have my best interests in mind. Key number 10 is people need a model. People are seeking a model to follow after, and we must provide that example. And so this is the nature of leader. You know, again, John Maxwell says to go up, you have to give up. And so we have to give up some privacy. We have to give up some ways that we like to do things because now people are watching us. They're watching us, and we're modeling a life. And so that's a commitment of leadership. If you're going to be a leader, you have to be prepared to step forward and to model lifestyle and ways of doing things that you want others to do as well. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12, Paul said to Timothy, be an example in these areas. Be an example in your words. Be an example in your behavior and your attitude. Be an example in your love. Be an example in your spirit, in your faith, and your purity. Look at those. Be an example in your words. What you say, others are listening, and they're going to follow your good example or your bad example. Be an example in your behavior and your attitude. Critical attitude, negative attitude, separationist attitude, your behavior. Be an example because others are watching you. Be an example in your love. Is your love consistent? Is your love partial? Do you choose to love some and not love others? In your spirit and the spiritual aspect, the fire, passion for God in your life. Be an example. In your faith, is your faith up, down, weak, strong, consistent? Be an example as they watch your faith. They can be inspired by you. And in your purity. And so you and I, as a leader, we naturally fall in to an example to others. People are looking for examples, and we need to provide that model for them. Finally, it's important for us to understand how a leader thinks and how a follower thinks. Most people think, and I've had a lot of years of experience with people, this is true. They think their situation is unique. Nobody has ever been through this before. Nobody has ever experienced this before, either positive or negative. They think that their problem is the biggest problem, bigger than anything, bigger than his problem, bigger than your problem. My problem is the biggest problem. They think that their faults should be overlooked. I realize that I've got some weaknesses here, but my weaknesses are not as bad as his weaknesses, and I think they're not that bad, and so really, again, if you're talking about your staff, your volunteers, yeah, I know I didn't do exactly what you did. I knew I kind of dropped the ball, kind of messed things up, but it's not that bad, and in their mind, they're thinking, you just ought to overlook that. And they think that their time is precious, which is true. Their time is precious. Don't waste your followers' time. Don't waste by not being prepared for a meeting, by being redundant, for making them sit in a meeting that they don't need to sit into, by making them do useless things, repetitious things that are not necessary. Don't waste their time. Leaders, on the other hand, leaders must put people first over programs. Honestly, the program, maybe they've messed up the program, but don't destroy the person. Relate to them in a way where at least you're trying to have understanding, you're being patient with them. Know the needs of those you work with. Know what their needs, know their families, know their personalities, and know what their needs are. Love people and help them to grow. I will tell you, if you help them, if you invest in people, they will love you till the day that they die. Just received a message. I posted something on Facebook here recently, I guess. I just received a message from a guy. I helped him many, many years ago. He was going through a divorce, going through a difficult time in his marriage. And I made an investment in him. I met with him and some other guys for an early morning Bible study for a long time. And he just replied to me, hardly hear from him, but he replied directly to me. In fact, he sent me an email about it. And he said, Chuck, I want to thank you so much for the investment that you've made in me. It changed my life, and I know that you've done it to so many other people too. Love people and help them grow. And be gentle and understanding with them. Finally, the question, as we come to an end of this session, in what areas must God shape you to improve your relationships with others? I'm talking to you. If you're watching this by yourself, if you're watching it as a group, what areas is God speaking to you about? We went through 10 different keys, 10 different ways of thinking for leaders that will translate into actions. What's God speaking to you about right now? Take a moment. Lord, continue to talk to us, Lord. Identify areas in our life, Lord, that you want to develop our people skills. And the questions, as we come to the end, again, you can stop the video. If you're by yourself, please look at these questions and write down your answers. If you're in a group, break into groups of 3 right now. This is what we do every time. Break into groups of 3, no more than 4 at the most, and answer these questions. What do you know in all of your relationships that you feel has been good people skills? So what are some positive people skills that you feel like that you have? I'm sorry, the question was, who do you know? Who do you know that has good people skills? Share, lift up somebody's name, mention somebody's name. This is the guy that he's got really great people skills, and they make me feel good. He makes me feel good. Why specifically? What does he do? Share that with one another in your group. Also, from the list of 10 people skills in the previous slides, which do you feel that you lack and that you need to develop? Now, if you have this in paper form, or if you have it in book form, or if you're taking notes on a separate pad, you can go back and rate yourselves, with 1 being not doing so good, 10 being fantastic, and you can go back and you can rate yourself. Take time to do this. Again, I want to encourage you, don't just watch these videos. Take time to think about them, to consider them, and to consider how are you going to respond to what I've been sharing with you. I want to develop you. I want to see your business, your school, your church, your organization. I want to see it just prosper, raise to the next level. But it's not going to happen just by listening. It's going to happen by following through. What are you going to do about this? What would you do if a customer came to you and complained about the service of your business or organization or church? What would you do? Would you justify what's happening? Would you seek to blame somebody else? Or would you get angry with them? Or would you listen with an open heart? Think about that. Okay, so take the next few minutes in your groups or by yourself and think through these questions, and we'll see you in the next session.